called, Miss Smith, in the history books, the peculiar institution of slavery. Why was it peculiar? It was peculiar because of what was done. Our ancestors were brought here on the bottoms of ships. They either called it loose packing or tight packing. If you tight packed, you put a lot in the ship, and then you ran the chance of some dying on the way. But you could throw them overboard and you still have a lot when you got there. You could loose pack, so only a few in the ship, and they might live a little longer because they had a little bit more room, a little bit more breath to breathe, and a little bit more air, a little bit more food to eat. And then you had a lot when you got there. Two ways you could bring them over. Somebody forgot about us at the bottom of those ships. Do you understand that these were Africans who were on ships who couldn't communicate with each other? Why couldn't they communicate with each other? Because they were from all different lands, all different villages throughout the continent of Africa. Somebody forgot about that. Somebody forgot that when they put them on the ships, they just labeled them all as Africans. But don't be naive to the fact that when you're in Senegal, you're in Senegal. When you're in Nigeria, you're in Nigeria. When you're here, you're here, you're here, you're here. It's a continent. It's not just a country. It's a continent. These were people from all different tribes, all different customs, all different languages. And here they were laying at the bottom of ships, couldn't barely communicate with one another, eating mush as they were thrown down there. Somebody forgot about what they were feeding them. They were feeding them cornmeal at the bottom of the ships, dancing the slaves, bringing them aboard, saying, "Dance for me, son, dance for me." And the slave would dance and dance and dance. Oh, and if he couldn't dance and he couldn't dance because he had been at the bottom of the ship and he was too weak to move, they threw him over. Somebody forgot about the thousands of Africans who now still lie in the oceans east of us, who are still at the bottom of the oceans. Somebody forgot about our ancestors who are still there. Somebody forgot about when they got here, what happened. They were put on a slave auction. You. No clothes. I want you. You look big and strong. You gonna be a good field nigga, they said. I want you. You gonna birth a lot of babies. Somebody forgot about that. So today when you watch videos and you see girls half naked on TV, know that it's simply just what was happening a few hundred years ago. They're still making money off of women with no clothes on who look like that they can make like a lot of babies. Somebody forgot. Somebody forgot about how it was our ancestors who built this nation. Strong men and women who built the economy of this nation. America is the greatest nation in the world today, we say. But know that it is our ancestors who built that economy, who built that strong superpower that we live in. Somebody forgot about that. Somebody forgot that it was the cotton industry where my grandfather and your grandfather spent day in and day out, day in and day out and day in and day out picking the cotton, the sugar cane down in Florida, the indigo, day in, breaking their backs, being whipped, being beaten, being raped. Slave masters coming to the quarters at night, telling the man of the quarter to go outside and stand around back while he took advantage of the man's wife, only to make more slaves, only to do more work, make more money, and build this great America that we have today. Somebody forgot it was our ancestors, our people, who through it all said, you know what, we're just gonna do what we gotta do. And they built this economy and this superpower that we have today. Somebody gave all of the credit to that dear man, Mr. Lincoln, that great abolitionist, rode in on a long white horse and freed us all. We thank you, Mr. Lincoln. But know, my brothers and my sisters, today, that your grandfathers and your grandmothers enlisted in that army too. It wasn't just at Howard, our founder, General Oliver Otis Howard, a wonderful Caucasian man, we thank him. But we too fought in the Civil War. We too contributed to keeping the nation together, the North and the Confederacy. We too contributed to keeping what the founding fathers had put together. We too fought in that war. Go home, watch Glory. We too came from the North, came from the South, all to fight in Mr. Lincoln's army. We too were a part of that. We too were there at the Battle of Antietam, the bloodiest day in American history. Mr. Lund's not here. Are they still teaching that? Yes. We too have fought in every single war since then. And oh wait, we were fighting before the Civil War. Did you know it was Crispus Attucks, a black man, first one killed in the American Revolution? They don't always show that in the movies. Somebody forgot. Yes, it was a black man at the Boston Massacre who was the first man killed in the Revolutionary War. Somebody forgot of all the contributions that African Americans have made to the armed forces. And yes, I loved Colin Powell. He's a great man, but he's not all. We've been doing what Colin Powell is doing now all along. We have been fighting right there on the side of our brothers and sisters of the other race, fighting since the American Revolution. Somebody forgot. Somebody now only remembers Martin. Somebody now only remembers Rosa. But right with Rosa was Ralph Abernathy, A. Philip Randolph, all of those school children in Birmingham on that day in 1963 who said, we're not going to school, but we're going to march today. You can throw the dogs at us. You can put water hoses on us. But guess what? We're going to march today. We're going to march to our freedom. You're going to let us vote. You're going to let us be full citizens of the United States. Separate but equal is no more. Somebody forgot. Somebody forgot. In the age of Obama today, we get a little comfortable because we say there's a black man who lives down the street from me in Washington, D.C., and he lives in that nice house. And there are days when I, late at night, go on a stroll and I walk past the White House. And I do thank God that there's an African-American family in that house. But I never try to forget that it was Africans who built that house. It was African-Americans who marched throughout the South from Selma to Montgomery so that somebody might be able to vote him in that house. You can't forget that. Somebody forgot who we were supposed to be. Somebody forgot our grandmother's prayer. Somebody forgot our grandfather's prayer. What was their prayer? That we would grow up, go to school, act right, get a good education, and make something of ourselves. Now we walk into Liberty High School, at least they were 2 years ago when I was here, and we act any old kind of way. The stereotypes that they see on the screen, maybe not anybody in here, but a few of us, we act them out in real life. We're loud. I remember the 400 overpass. You couldn't get through there. Why? Because it was my brothers and sisters in the hall, yelling and screaming. Somebody forgot our grandmother's prayer who said, go to school and act right and make something of yourself. If you don't do that, there's not much else in the world you can do these days. Mama, daddy, they maybe didn't go to college. Maybe they didn't graduate high school. That worked in their generation. I'm not too sure that it's going to work now. We must not forget our grandmother's prayer. Go to school and act right, get an education, and make something of ourselves. For Frederick Douglass, a good Howard man as well, said that education is the key to success. Do you know in the city of Bethlehem right now, if you don't have a high school diploma, you can't be a trash worker? You cannot actually work at the city trash plant unless you have a high school diploma. That's why we must not forget our grandmother's prayer to go to school and to act right. And when we get here, we have to take advantage of every opportunity given to us. Don't let them say that the black kids don't do anything at Liberty. Don't let them say that. When I was here, I was the regimental sergeant major of the band, head of the NAACP, class president for 3 years. I did it all. Why? Because I was sick and tired of them saying the black people at Liberty, all they do is make a ruckus. Don't let them say that. Don't let them forget who your ancestors wanted you to be. They wanted you to be kings and queens, intellectuals. Not just performing on the basketball court, although that's good, that's fun, but you got to perform in the classrooms. That's right. And we, as those who have come through the ranks, we have a job too. We must not forget what somebody did for us. Somebody encouraged us along the way. Somebody told us that it was going to be okay. Somebody disciplined us and said, no, you cannot do this. We must also do that to those who are going through the ranks now. We must not forget. We must not forget who we are. We must not forget where we come from. And we must not forget what our ancestors wanted us to be. Thank you.